If you're Black and a parent, you've probably had the talk with your children about how to interact with police. Negative views of law enforcement is not new for us, but a new children's book is working to change that perspective. Author and Houston Police Sergeant Jeremy Lahar joins us, along with illustrator and former Houston Police Detective Steven Baltazar. And they're here to discuss their new book, Officer Friendly Takes on Scary Police. Thank you for joining us. This is such an important topic.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having us.
So I want to hear this from both of you, but Steven, let's start with you. What made you want to join the police force?
So I graduated college in 2012, and my dad was a police officer for at that time about 12 years. He was with HPD, and I literally wanted to follow in his footsteps. He's one of my best friends and a great father figure on top of being there. So I wanted to follow his footsteps, and that's exactly what I did after graduating. I transitioned straight from college into police work, and the artwork came a little after. And I retired back in November of this year due to my son being diagnosed with autism. So I'm a stay-at-home dad / artist and illustrator now.
Well, thank you for your service. And wow, you're amazing. A stay-at-home father. Now that's going to be the toughest job, I'm sure. Sergeant, what about you?
Yes, ma'am. My story is a little bit different than Steven's. Me growing up, I did not want to join law enforcement. I went to school for communications, but ended up realizing how important clear and concise communication is to law enforcement, and being able to connect with people and on a personal, professional level and empathize with them. It kind of translated and made the job really easy. So getting into law enforcement was kind of, going into wanting to serve people and really wanting to help people that look like me and make sure people who can't help themselves, we can help them.
And so, Sergeant, I want to stay with you for a second because you say finding people who look like you. We know that there's not equal representation when it comes to law enforcement. So did you feel welcome? Did you feel accepted? What was your experience there?
Yes, ma'am. Houston's a little bit different. We're a melting pot down here, one of the most diverse cities in the United States. So going into the academy, it was very diverse, and our police department overall is very diverse. So it's easy to find people that look like you, that come from similar backgrounds as you do, and which makes it easy to connect with the people that you're out there serving in the community.
So, Steven, tell us, why was it important to write and create a book for children? It's called Officer Friendly Takes on Scary Police.
Right. So Jeremy's the author, and he actually came to me in, I believe, 2018. He presented the idea to me in passing, and that's when I was just starting my creative journey with artwork while still being a police officer at that time. So he presented the idea to me, and it was a no-brainer. I had to join in. Jeremy is an amazing person, very organized with his business, and I wanted to be able to tag along with this opportunity to present a better message of spreading police positivity instead of all the negative interactions that you see in the media that's more portrayed outside of the good things that are going on in the background. So to be able to collaborate with him on this book was amazing.
And you said you did the illustration, so I'm looking at the pictures now and I'm seeing bright, beautiful, vivid colors. They immediately invoke happiness and joy. I love those colors. Tell us about your illustrations and how you're using those to reach children.
So primarily illustrations within this book were the kid that is in the book, the main character, Cooley, is actually a representation of Jeremy himself. And we re-imaged it and kind of went backwards and took some of his lifestyle and different things that he went through his life, incorporated them into the book so it could be more personable. We wanted to make sure the illustrations were fun, lighthearted, and also be able to be translated into more than just a book, picture books, pass on other activity books, be able to give kids and their parents something to look forward to and something bright and happy and a little bit lighthearted. When you think of police, you always think of something very heavy and very powerful, but we wanted to make sure that we sending that power in a positive light.
Steven, gun safety is a big topic in this book. Why is this a priority that parents need to be discussing with their kids?
Because guns aren't going anywhere. That's something that's going to always be here, as accessible to everybody. And you have to make sure that you're teaching your children the safety measures that come when it comes to guns, knives, even household products, just leaving around bleach and stuff. All those things is more so trying to branch out that in general, safety is huge. So the gun safety primarily will come with police. We want to make sure that kids aren't going out there because they got these games and you think that it's just a game, but on top of these games showing these gun violence, it's not good because it's also real life. So we want to make sure that transition is being taught from a younger age so they can grow up understanding a difference from just virtual play.
Sergeant, I want to talk a little bit about your background working in law enforcement because you come from a different space. Did you ever have any experiences that you felt weren't positive in terms of representation?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, it's just like any interaction with anybody, just like a waiter at a restaurant. All of your interactions may not be positive, but you don't let one negative interaction make you put a blanket over everybody that you come in contact with. So, yes, I did have a negative interaction with law enforcement growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up in, and it stuck with me for a while. I was in middle school, but it didn't deter me from, you know, me wanting to follow my passion of helping people and connecting with youth, and hopefully getting rid of that negativity, that kind of that stigma that follows law enforcement, and giving them representation and letting them know that, hey, people that look like you can do this job, it's okay to help people who can't help themselves.
So in reality, we know that there are good cops and bad cops. How do you explain the difference to kids?
It's just about having those conversations, like Steven said, whether it be gun safety, whether it be about, being afraid of the police. I was afraid of police growing up because, unfortunately, the only time that I saw them is when they were coming and taking people to jail. You got to have those conversations with your kids and let them know. And it really stemmed from me working in security and people coming in with their kids, mostly, African American parents, minority parents, and the kid may be acting up, and they're like, "Hey, if you don't listen, that police officer is going to take you to jail." But that's planting that negative seed, and we don't want that, because if you go on, aisle three and something happens to you and you have some type of episode, that child's going to be afraid to come and let us know that they need help. And we don't want to plant that seed because it's going to grow into something that, unfortunately may end up, leading to a bad interaction with police when they get older. So through this book, through those conversations, we really want to let kids know that police are here to help you. There are going to be negative interactions with police. There are going to be incidents that happen, and you're going to see those on TV. But through this book, we're trying to teach them that there can be representation. You can have somebody that looks like you, that's a minority main character. It is okay to go and help people. And we want to encourage kids not to be afraid of police.
And we have time for just one more quick question. Stephen, how do we find your book?
So the book, Jeremy is the author of the book. It's going to be on his website, jeremylahar.com, and there's a link that's there for officer friendly book series. Also, there's a hyperlink on my website, bizarrestudios.com, and there'll be also a hyperlink there for the same to be purchased online. And we'll do trade shows, pop-ups.
Yes, yes. I cannot wait to get this book, especially with everything that's been in the news lately with police brutality. And we've been following the stories here on BNC. My daughter just asked me the other day, she was confused. She's, are cops good or are they bad? And so a book like this is so important and powerful for our community. So I thank you for helping us parents navigate through this difficult topic. And thank you for joining us here on Start Your Day.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having us.
And for more information, you can also visit officerfriendlybooks.com.